1916 was a really bad year for the newly incorporated city of Courtenay. On July 21st, the new Royal Bank on the prime corner of Union Street and Cliff Avenue caught fire. Lawrence Burns, city historian and former fire chief of Courtenay, tells us how the fire raged all night, spreading rapidly through the adjoining city blocks, destroying a business school and a newspaper office on Cliff Avenue and many retail stores on Union Street, now 5th Street.
Fire department in those days, early in its stages, as I mentioned, no motorized equipment or anything, no water, but the signal to call the firemen out was the church bell. And so somebody had gone and rang the Presbyterian church bell, which was located where Hot Chocolates is, just up the street there now, in that location. And that brought the fire department out. And of course, all the people in those days turned out when there was a fire.
Water was carried in buckets from the river. Firemen fought fires with only buckets and ladders. There was no motorized equipment.
I couldn't imagine what it'd be like back then, because basically you joined the fire department, they gave you a hose and said go and fight the fire. Now training takes a year to 18 months to be fully trained as a level 2 firefighter. You know, back in the days, you just go in with a pair of boots, coveralls, or an overcoat, and you're in. You're breathing smoke sometimes. Now that it's not acceptable.
Miraculously, the furniture store, now Tab Imports, was saved by draping wet blankets over the exterior walls.
So this building here goes back before it was here in 1915 at the beginning of the city, and they've renovated it over the years.
Today, this is the oldest remaining building on 5th Street. On May 24, 1926, fire broke out in a theatre in a building right next door to where Searles Shoes is now, then Modern Shoes. This fire wiped out the entire block of the opposite side of 5th Street.
Yeah, the fire in 1926, it started in the building right next to what is now Searles. It was called the Modern Shoes in those days. Approximately the same location.
Another major fire happened on January 2nd, 1968 at the Riverside Hotel, right where the Sid Williams Theatre Square is now. The Riverside was built in 1890, right next door to the Bickle Theatre. The Bickle was only 8 inches away from the Riverside Hotel building, yet firemen were able to save the Bickle Theatre from any damage. There were 26 people in the hotel, and thanks to quick action of the desk clerk, on the day right after New Year's Day, everyone got out safely.
He pulled the fire alarm and went around and made sure everybody in the hotel knew there was a fire. And we fought that fire vigorously for a good number of hours, and fortunately, we were able to save, everybody got out safe.
Courtenay Fire Department celebrates 100 years of service from 1915 to 2015. For Lawrence Burns, fighting fires was in his blood, and for him it was a privilege to serve Courtenay for over 40 years as a volunteer firefighter up to fire chief.
One of the things I used to think, I wanted to do something for the community, and I was a volunteer. I willingly gave my time, and it turned into be a lot of time. I joined, I guess, partly because of the excitement. As a kid, I chased fire trucks, you know, like kids did. I used to get a lot of trouble at home for that, but it was in my blood, I guess.
In the history of the fire department, there have been many acts of bravery. Let's celebrate 100 years Courtenay Fire Department service, 1915 to 2015. In the Comox Valley, I'm Kate Brown.